Welcome to the sacral chakra flow. We will stay kind of rooted in our mat space, engaging the core, connecting to our sacral chakra located just beneath the navel, Svadhisthana. For this flow sequence, I invite you to take along with you this mantra that I'll share throughout practice and right now. So just finding your rooted, seated position. You can even choose to close down through the eyes and drop into your rhythm of breath or your ujjayi breath. The sacral chakra holds a lot of our emotions, our relationships, creativity, sexuality. It's the vibrant color orange. It has a lot to do with our feelings. So today's mantra will be, I feel, accept, and embrace my creativity and sexuality. I feel, accept, and embrace my creativity and sexuality. And with the eyes closed here, we can choose to manifest or visualize the vibrant color orange behind closed lids. I feel, accept, and embrace my creativity and sexuality. Beginning to blink open the eyes. And we're going to make our way down to a supported lying position, keeping the soles of the feet planted. We can engage the core here as we root through the soles of the feet. The knees are high and we slowly lower, getting that engagement through the core, the lower part of the abdomen, until we release the low back, mid, and upper down to the mat. Sliding the heels in closer to the sit bones. We can tuck the shoulder blades beneath the body, palms to the mat. And as you inhale, pressing into the soles of the feet, let's lift the back, sit bones up off the mat, finding a bridge pose. And as we exhale, we'll lower, thinking about releasing mid-back, then low. And sit bones. Inhale, slowly peeling the back body up, engaging through the core and lifting that sacral space, that sacral region up toward the sky. Almost as if to lift it up, to shine that orange light or receive that orange, vibrant color. Moving with the breath, moving nice and slow like you're flowing through honey. I feel, accept, and embrace my creativity and sexuality. One more round. We can hold at the top of our bridge pose. Maybe choosing to press a little harder into the feet, really lift the low belly, the hips up towards the ceiling. You can choose to walk the hands closer together beneath the body, maybe to interlace or to touch fingertips. And exhale to release. Inviting the knees to either underarm. Let's set ourselves up to take a happy baby pose. And rock gently from side to side, massaging the low back or playing with straightening through one leg and straightening through the other. Straightening through both legs, maybe encouraging some deep stretch into the hamstrings, the inner thighs and hips. Letting some of those emotions be released, emotions from relationships, emotions connected to work, power, and money. Begin to grab for behind the knees, bringing both knees through to heart center, and we'll rock back on the spine, finding seated, or you can roll to one side. Rising up through seated. And we'll just take the legs nice and wide, rooting down through the sit bones, feeling the navel press forward, flexing the toes towards the body. Let's lead with the navel, finding a forward fold, leave with that space, and then the hands can come through center, maybe lowering to forearms or placing forehead to stacked fists. Let's find 3 breaths here. The hands finding the mat space. Let's begin to walk them towards the body, finding a nice straight spine, moving the soles of the feet together, the knees out wide. Hands grabbing for the shins. Again, let's lead with the stomach or that sacral space. As you inhale, pull the belly forward and then lift the chest up. Start to let the head and neck fall back. And as you exhale, start with a tuck of that low abdomen. Round out the low back, mid and upper. You can even put a little bit of resistance on the shins as you really fall into this pose, this rounded position, the shape of cat in the body, and inhale forward to pull through a cow-like shape, arching through the spine, pressing the navel, the lower chakras forward. And exhale around through the spine. Nice and slow with control here. We're really engaged through that core space. Open front body. And exhale, open back body. Running 2 more cycles. Letting the breath be the guide. Letting your body be fueled with the bright orange energy of Svadhisthana. Making our way through a nice neutral spine. Let's bring the knees together. Making our way into our tabletop position. Engaging through the core by playing in a little bit of a hold in our plank pose. So we can choose to take this from a knee down plank variation, just walking the hands forward on the mat space. Keeping the knees rooted and ensuring that we're pressing into all 10 finger pads. The chin is humble and the gaze is just in front of the hands on the mat space. Maybe you curl the toes and lift the knees up, or you flow through a couple different variations here as we hold for about 10 breaths. letting that core be ignited and engaged, starting to flow energy, starting to bring power into that space of the body. The exhales can release through the mouth. If we're creating heat, if we need to let go, you can also swirl them in the back of the throat or ujjayi breath, keeping the mind and body engaged. If you're taking a knee down variation, I encourage you to curl the toes under. Lift the knees up off the mat and find a full plank for a breath. You can release in the knees, bringing the toes together. The knees wide. Let's find our child's pose. Also letting the belly be soft here. So not only engaging, but knowing that we also have the ability to relax, to soften through the muscles and through the emotional spaces in our life, in our hearts. And yes, we can be strong. And yes, that's great. But yes, we can also be soft, be gentle, and relax. The inhale, beginning to pull the weight forward. Let's send the hips up and back, finding our first downward facing dog. Maybe pedaling out through the feet. Then finding stillness. Inhale to raise the right leg up. You can choose to bend at that right knee, really opening the right hip. Let the belly shine off to the right side. Then as we exhale, let's swing it through the plant between the hands, lowering into a crescent lunge. Think about sending that sacral space forward. The hands can stay planted and we can walk up to knees, our arms overhead. If the arms are up overhead, we'll bring the fingertips back down to the mat space. Walking the hands back, straightening in the right leg. Let's find our runner's lunge. And just moving here, forward and back for 3 cycles. Letting the hips fall. Dropping the root and sacral chakra towards the mat or the front of the space. And allowing the belly to soften. Maybe find that runner's lunge on the exhales. Bring the hands to the mat space. Let's pick the left knee up off the mat and send the right leg back behind us. 3-legged downward facing dog. This time as we exhale, bring the right knee behind the right wrist, setting up for our pigeon pose. Option to have a block tucked beneath that right sit bone. With the hands on the mat space, we're trying to square off the hips. Inhale, the heart shines. Lift the chin and exhale, let's wave down. Again, let's lead with the belly. Let the chin tuck, the forehead tuck at the bottom. Inhale to rise. And exhale to flow down. Find your breath here, 3 cycles. On your final exhale, we'll find a hold, maybe resting forearms down to the mat space, and third eye to stacked fists. I feel, accept, and embrace my creativity and sexuality. Hands can find the mat space. Let's move back into our downward facing dog. Keeping both feet planted, rocking through the knees, rocking through the hips. We'll gaze forward, and we're gonna step the feet to either side of the hands, tiptoeing forward. Heels in, toes pointing out. Let's find our Malasana squat, sink down into the hips. Hands can find heart center. We can choose to stay here with the hands at heart center. We can reach the right fingertips down to the mat and the left arm up. Open, gently twisting through the body, opening left side body, then hands meet through heart center, left fingertips extending out to the mat, and right arm sweeps up. Move through one more time on each side, or resting the hands to the heart space. Both hands to meet at heart center. Let's plant the hands on the mat and begin to find a forward fold, straighten through the legs. And heel toe the feet together. Maybe grab for opposite elbows, find a gentle sway, and let that upper body hang heavy. And with a big step back with the right foot, we'll lower down into our crescent lunge on the left side. The hands can rise up overhead, or we can stay rooted as we really fall into that right hip, pressing that right hip flexor forward. Maybe feeling an overwhelming sense of tightness through our hips here. And as we exhale, we'll find a runner's lunge, straightening in the right leg, or the left leg, and walking the hands back. And just moving here, allowing the breath to take control, allowing the body to move fluidly. Making our way into our final crescent moon lunge. Picking up the right knee, and let's send the left leg up and behind us, three-legged down dog. We can also choose to bend in that left hip if you did on the right. Really shine the belly to the left side. And then as we exhale, let's swing the left leg through to plant behind the left wrist, setting up for our pigeon pose. Our floating pigeon, our flowing pigeon here. Inhale and exhale as you wave, leading with the belly. Let go of anything that we're storing within the space. Every time those eyes close, let's envision the color orange. Stay connected to our sacral chakra, and exhale to our lowest pigeon. Forearms to plant. Forehead to rest. I feel, accept, and embrace my creativity and sexuality. Hands rising up to the mat. Eventually making our way to a downward facing dog, both feet to the mat space. begin to release the knees down to the mat. Sitting back to the heels, let's just take a moment to rest the hands to that space just below the navel. I feel, accept, and embrace my creativity and sexuality. And here, when we speak of sexuality, we're not just talking about intimate relationships with others, but just embracing our body, embracing the skin that we're in, the beauty that we shine in our unique and fantastic way. Everything that makes us feel good inside, feel desirable. Inhale, let's rise up to high knees. We're going to bring the hands to the low back, the fingertips pointing down. The knees are just about hip-width distance apart. The toes can be curled or flat to the mat. Elbows pull towards each other. Find this lifting first from the heart. Open up through the heart, the throat. Then begin to press the pelvis forward, the sacral chakra. Finding our camel pose. Staying here, you can reach back to the ankles or to the heels if that's accessible to you. Trying to stay for 3 more cycles of breath. Maybe slightly shallow or sips of air here as we're quite extended through the heart space and through the lungs. Coming out of this pose, hands to low back, gentle tuck of the chin. We'll round forward into our closed-legged child's pose, rock pose. Just gently rock in the hips from side to side. We'll walk the hands up and just finding a comfortable seated position or laying to the back. Closing off our practice today. In whichever way supports the body. Maybe even inviting those hands to the low belly. Feeling the warmth, feeling the energy flowing beneath the hands. Seeing our bright color orange. And finding our mantra that we've carried with us. Or letting yourself move with the affirmation starting with I feel. I feel proud of my creations. I feel connected to my creative body. Or I feel happy and loved in my relationships. Whatever calls to you here, just repeating that mantra to yourself for 5 cycles of breath. Letting go of any unhealthy relationships, any toxicities that we may be holding. Thank you for joining with me. Namaste.